Everyone expects strength to look the same. Punch harder, finish faster, win at all costs. But that night, Muhammad Ali saw something no one else did. And instead of throwing the next punch, he chose mercy. The arena was loud, restless, hungry for a finish. People came to see dominance, not delay. They wanted the familiar ending, a broken opponent, a raised hand, a clear winner. Muhammad Ali stood in the ring under bright lights, surrounded by noise, yet completely calm, as if he wasn't set standing inside chaos. But observing it from above, the fight had been moving in only one direction. Ali's control was obvious. His timing was sharp, his presence overwhelming. To everyone watching, this was just another step toward victory. Another moment where Ali would do what champions do, finish. But then something shifted. Not in the crowd, not in the commentary. In the space between two human beings, Muhammad Ali noticed it instantly. The change wasn't in punches thrown, but in the man standing in front of him. The opponent bull's posture sagged. His breathing became uneven. His eyes no longer searched for openings, but for escape. This was no longer competition, it was distress. The crowd didn't see it. They were too far away, too invested in the spectacle, but Ali was close enough to hear the breath, to feel the hesitation, to sense the moment when courage gives way to fear. This is where instinct usually takes over. Finish now, press harder, end it. That's what champions are trained to do. That sets what the world expects. But Ali didn't move forward. He paused. In a sport built on aggression, that pause felt unnatural, almost wrong. The noise continued, unaware that something irreversible was unfolding in silence. Ali understood something most people never consider. There is a point where winning stops proving strength and starts revealing something else. A point where another punch doesn't test skill, but conscience. This was that point. In that brief moment, with thousands watching and expecting violence, Ali faced a decision no referee could make for him. One that wouldn't appear on the scorecard. One that wouldn't be replayed as a highlight. The moment no one expected was instead about stopping a fight. It was about choosing who you are when no one would blame you for choosing otherwise. And that choice was only beginning. Most people in the arena were watching fists. They were counting punches, waiting for impact. Their eyes followed speed and power, but Muhammad Ali was watching something deeper. He wasn't focused on dominance. He was reading the human being in front of him. Muhammad Ali had spent years inside rings. He knew the difference between pain and panic, between exhaustion and surrender. A fighter can be hurt and still be present, but when the mind begins to collapse, the body follows quickly after. Ali saw the subtle signs most people miss. The way the opponent sits, shoulders dropped. The hesitation before movement. The eyes no longer tracking strategy, but searching for safety. This wasn't a man planning his next move. This was a man trying to survive the moment. Crowds don't know it breathing. They don't hear uneven gasps through the noise. Ali did. Close enough to feel it, close enough to recognize fear. Not the kind that sharpens you, but the kind that breaks you. There is a line in combat that isn't written anywhere. No rulebook defines it. Referees don't always see it. It sets the line where competition ends and harm begins. Ali knew exactly where that line was, and he knew it had been crossed. Most fighters are trained to ignore empathy, to push past emotion, to treat hesitation as weakness. Ali had something different. Awareness. Awareness is dangerous because it demands responsibility. Once you see, you can pretend you didn't He recognized that his opponent wasn't losing skill. He was losing composure, losing the internal anchor that keeps a fighter grounded. Without that anchor, another punch doesn't test strength. It tests cruelty. Ali understood the mental weight of the ring, the isolation, the feeling of being trapped under lights, judged by thousands, unable to escape. He had felt it himself in other moments. That empathy sharpened his judgment. This wasn't about fear of losing. Ali was instead threatened. This wasn't about strategy. The outcome was already clear. This was about recognizing when continuing no longer proves superiority, only indifference. Most people confuse awareness with softness. Ali proved it was the opposite, to see suffering clearly and still stop. requires more strength than finishing blindly. Anyone can keep punching. Not everyone can choose restraint when power is fully theirs. Ali also knew how quickly a moment like this could turn into lifelong trauma. Fighters carry more than bruises. They carry memories, humiliation, fear, shame. Ali didn't want to be the reason another man carried something that heavy forever. The opponent's body was still standing, but his spirit was retreating. Ali saw that retreat happening in real time, and he knew once it fully happened, there was no honor left in continuing. Winning would feel hollow, and Ali never chased hollow victories. Crowds reward finishes. History remembers moments of humanity. Ali understood that instinctively, long before anyone would talk about it, long before it became a story. In that instant, he chose to be remembered for judgment, not brutality. There is also a kind of intelligence that only experience gives you. Ali had been tested, criticized, broken, doubted. Those experiences refined his perception. They taught him how to read pain that doesn't show on the surface. That perception made him pause. Ali didn't need confirmation from anyone else. He didn't look to the referee. He didn't wait for the crowd to agree. He trusted his read. That trust comes only when a person is deeply grounded in themselves. He saw a man who needed dignity more than another blow. He saw a moment where mercy would speak louder than dominance. He saw that strength had already been proven, and that anything beyond this point would say something he didn't want said about him. Most people watching would never notice what Ali noticed in those seconds. They were watching the event. Ali was watching the human cost. That difference is why his legacy extends far beyond wins and losses. What Ali saw wasn't weakness. It was vulnerability. And he understood that exploiting vulnerability is easy. Protecting it is what defines real strength. That is why he stopped. The shift didn't announce itself. There was no bell, no signal, no dramatic interruption. It happened quietly, inside the ring, between two men standing inches apart. In a sport built on force, the moment changed direction without a sound. Muhammad Ali didn't step back in fear. He stepped closer with awareness. Not to dominate, not to finish, but to acknowledge what was happening in front of him. That alone was unexpected. Instead of pressing the advantage, Ali slowed the pace. He reduced the pressure. His body language shifted from attack to control. It was subtle, but for the man facing him, it meant everything. Ali leaned in and spoke softly. Not for the cameras, not for the crowd. Words meant for one person only. Whatever he said wasn't recorded, but the effect was immediate. The tension changed. In that instant, the ring stopped being a stage. It became a private space. Two human beings separated from the noise, the lights, the expectations. A rare pocket of humanity inside violence. The crowd didn't understand what they were seeing. Some thought it was strategy. Some thought it was delay. Others felt confusion creep in. Why wasn't Ali finishing? Why wasn't he taking what was clearly his? Because Ali knew when a victory had already been decided internally. Continuing wouldn't prove skill. It would only add damage. Damage that served no purpose. Ali had nothing left to prove in that moment. The opponent's reaction said everything. The resistance faded. The fear eased. The weight of the moment lifted slightly. Ali Sepp's restraint gave him something rare in that ring. Dignity. And dignity is not something fighters often get to keep. This wasn't weakness disguised as kindness. It was control expressed through mercy. Ali demonstrated that dominance doesn't always require destruction. Sometimes it requires judgment, and judgment is harder than aggression. Many fighters talk about respect. Few practice it when it costs them spectacle. Ali practiced it when no one demanded it of him, when there was no rule forcing his hand, when he could have continued without consequence or criticism. By choosing restraint, Ali took responsibility for his power. Power without responsibility is dangerous. Ali knew that. Stopping wasn't surrender. It was ownership. That moment also redefined victory. The scoreboard didn't change, but the meaning of the fight did. Ali wasn't trying to win a round anymore. He was trying to protect a person. and that choice resonated deeper than any punch. In a ring designed to break people down, Ali built something back up. Not physically, but emotionally, he showed that awareness can interrupt instinct, that compassion can exist without undermining strength. This is the part most people miss. Ali didn't stop because he felt sorry. He stopped because he understood the cost of continuing, the cost to another man's sip's dignity, and the cost to his own character. He chose the outcome that preserved both. The fight turned into a human moment because Ali allowed it to, because he trusted his perception over the crowd's sep's appetite, because he believed strength included restraint, and because he knew when to stop, even when no one would have blamed him for going on. That decision didn't echo through highlight reels. It echoed through legacy. Anyone can be aggressive when they sit or winning. Anyone can press harder when the advantage is obvious. That kind of strength is easy. It sits rewarded. It sets expected, but it sets also common. Muhammad Ali understood that real strength isn't measured by how much damage you can cause. It sets measured by how much damage you choose not to cause when you have every excuse to continue. Power without restraint is just impulse. Restraint with power is character. Ali chose character. Stopping took more courage than finishing. Finishing would have brought cheers. It would have satisfied the crowd. It would have added another statistic. Stopping risked misunderstanding. It risked criticism. It risked being labeled soft by people who had never held that much power. Ali accepted that risk because he wasn't set fighting for approval. He wasn't set fighting for headlines. He was fighting in alignment with his values. When values lead decisions, opinions lose their grip. Real strength includes awareness. Awareness of limits. Awareness of consequences. Awareness of the human cost behind action. Ali recognized that another punch would no longer test skill. It would test his conscience. And conscience mattered more to him than spectacle. There is also strength in slowing down instinct. Every fiber of training says finish. Years of conditioning push toward completion. Ali interrupted that conditioning with judgment. That interruption is difficult. It requires mastery over self, not just opponent. Self-mastery is the rarest kind of strength. Ali also knew strength should leave something intact. If victory destroys dignity, it corrodes the winner as well. Ali didn't want victories that hollowed him out. He wanted wins that left him whole. Stopping preserved both fighters' sits. Humanity, that preservation is not weakness. It sets wisdom. Many confuse mercy with pity. Ali's sit's decision was stit pity. It was respect. Respect for the opponent's set's limits. Respect for the sport. Respect for himself. Pity looks down. Respect stands level. Strength that relies on humiliation is fragile. It needs to dominate to feel secure. Ali's set's strength didn't need that. It was secure already. That security allowed compassion without loss of authority. Only truly strong people can afford that. In that moment, Ali showed that power isn't proven by escalation. It's proven by control. Control over fists. Control over ego. Control over the urge to take more than is necessary. That level of control is invisible to crowds, but unforgettable to conscience. What Ali demonstrated transcended boxing. It applied to leadership, to conflict, to life. Anyone can win by force when they step ahead. Few can stop and ask, "Should I?" Ali did, and answered with restraint. That is why this was real strength. Not because he could have finished, but because he didn't need to. When the fight ended, the scorecard mattered less than the moment. People didn't leave talking about punches or rounds. They talked about the pause, the restraint, the decision that didn't fit the script. Because something deeper had been revealed. Muhammad Ali didn't just stop a fight. He redefined what winning looks like. He showed that victory isn't always about overpowering someone. Sometimes it's about protecting what shouldn't be taken. Dignity, humanity, self-respect. That moment stayed with people because it was rare. Sports often reward domination. Life often rewards taking more when you can. Ali showed that true greatness knows when enough is enough. That knowing when to stop can be more powerful than knowing how to continue. The lesson wasn't set only for boxing fans. It was for anyone who's ever had power over another person. A boss, a leader, a stronger voice in a room. Ali reminded us that how you use power matters more than having it. He proved that compassion doesn't weaken authority. It deepens it. People remember leaders who protect them, not just those who defeat others. Ali's restraint didn't shrink him. It elevated him. It showed confidence so secure. It didn't need to prove itself through harm. Years later, people may forget the opponent's name. They may forget the round. They may forget the result. But they remember that Ali chose mercy when no one would have faulted him for choosing force. That's why the story survived. In the end, the most powerful thing Ali did that night wasn't something he threw. It was something he held back. And that restraint echoed far beyond the ring. Because real strength isn't just the ability to win. It's the wisdom to know when winning would cost too much